That was forceful.
Welcome back to Premier League and Pints, Week 2. Another week of previewing games, fantasy discussions, bold takes, and over-under game.
Clayton's still here, so we must have done something good.
Yeah. They bribed me with free beer.
Yeah, you're bringing the beer next week.
Okay.
Well,
fair
considering we have PBR here, you're the most likely one who brought this here.
I think I actually
that's a good point.
It's
Yeah.
probably not free beer, considering you most likely paid for it.
On a side note, if anyone wants to sponsor us, right now we're drinking PBR, Landshark, and Michelob Ultra. So, shout out to those beers. Okay. Week 1 coming up. We all are giddy and excited, I would say.
Understatement.
Best day of the year.
This honestly should be a national holiday for anyone that likes soccer/football in the USA.
I'm taking off Friday for one game.
That's how you know. Clayton, then again, you take off for the most minuscule things.
Name one time.
Tomorrow.
Listen, Burnley are going to have a hell of a first game.
Well, speaking of games,
Should
we
we
preview
preview?
Yeah,
Let's get right into it.
okay, so the first game, as Clayton, I can't think of the right word to say there, but already mentioned, I was going to say a nicer big word, but I couldn't think of it. So, Clayton, would you like to preview the City-Burnley game? Thoughts, any opinions?
I'm excited for the style of football company's going to bring to the Prem, because when he was in the Championship, it was real expansive football, and it's one of those things where if he sticks to that style of football where it's an open field and he's playing that against higher caliber teams, you could see them let up a ton of goals. But I think that he's not going to come in that naive. I think he might change it up a little bit, especially with having City week 1. So I'm kind of interested to see how they're going to handle it. I don't really care to talk about City because they're just going to be, I think they're just going to be as dominant as they have been the last 4 years.
The only thing I'm going to add to that is it's hard for any team to really employ their normal strategy against City just because unless you're a sit back and counter type of team, then you can employ that strategy. But it's just tough. I saw the interviews. I think it was Michael Antonio and someone else basically saying when you play them, it's like your strategy just goes out the window. It's just you do what you can, and you basically feel like you're chasing the ball for most of the game.
Burnley's at home in this one, right?
Yep, we are at Turf Moor.
So, I mean, I feel like this game is just going to be, honestly, just from the start to finish, just extreme intensity. I mean, Burnley, you're back in the Prem. You're at home with your new manager who's taken you however far he has. I mean, they've obviously been doing great against his former team where he literally has a statue built for him. So I think emotions are going to be high. Tensions are going to be high. I could see Burnley getting one early and the place absolutely erupting. But then I think City settle in and kind of
City tend to start slow every season.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think Burnley get one early, and then I think City might calm down. I don't think Burnley wins the game, but I think City responds and starts to take control after that.
I think too. Like, sorry, Dan, you go.
I was gonna say, I think if Burnley, I don't expect them to win or even tie, but I think if they, put in a good shift and they show their fans that, all right, they're back in the Premier League, they're here to stay. I think that'll be huge for their season because I think if they can come in first game of the season and, show that they're here to fight, I think for sure they'll stay up,
What do you think of their new badge?
It's pretty much the same, just different color, right?
I know. I kind of like the coloring, though. That might be the Aston Villa fan in me because it's like very similar color style, but I like the coloring a lot.
Anyone else have any takes on this one?
No, we can keep going. We'll fly through. We go to the next game. Our 7:30.
We have score predictions?
Let's just do. I mean, we'll do our score. We'll have one person do one each week. So if we all do one, it's gonna be too hard to track. So who wants to give the score prediction for City Burnley? And then we'll keep track each week how many we get right, our overall record throughout the season. So each person gets one game. Well, gets each game.
You do it, City fan.
We'll each get our own team for week 1.
All right, I'm gonna go 2-1 City. Sorry.
Oh, he almost slipped up.
Oh,
that could be it. That could be. Is that?
Is anybody writing that down?
I'm gonna go 2-1 City.
You're right. You're writing it down.
On my phone? You have my laptop?
Oh, I have your laptop. Yeah.
all right, next game. We are looking at Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest at the Emirates.
Ooh, for those of you in the U.S. on the East Coast, that's 7:30.
7:30
If
a.m. Wake up.
You're on the West Coast. That blows. I don't know what to think about this game. I do think that Arsenal at home to start the year are going to win. I'm mostly just curious to see how Arsenal lines up, especially with, Jesus being out. And honestly, I know we talked about this. I'm not sure we talked about it last week, but we did talk about it last night at our draft. we touched on Timber playing for Arsenal, and if he's going to start the game, go all 90, whatever it may be. So I'm curious to see how Arsenal line up, and then obviously to see Forest kind of first game of the year on the road. I'm actually a little nervous for him.
Clayton, any thoughts?
I'm really excited to see some of the new signings for both teams.
Yeah.
Especially with what happened with Forest last year, where they brought in so many new players.
Like
And
22
just-
incomings, right? Last year, something crazy.
They did everything they could to stay up last year. That was basically their
Yeah.
goal, was buy as many players as we can and see if we can stay up.
Oh yeah, and I think the Matt Turner was finalized. He's going Forest, right?
That'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point to bring up.
That'll be interesting if he hops right in as their number one. I mean, I think Arsenal are going to win this, but I'm excited to watch it.
Gary, anything to add? Or
I'm kind of disappointed Jesus isn't starting the season because I would like to see them like what their lineup is, full health. Other than that, for reasons we'll talk about later, I like to see how Havertz plays in this game without Jesus. If they deploy him as a 9, or if they go with Nketiah and drop him in behind. I mean, there's a couple options they can go with.
yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, it's gonna be a fun 7:30 wake up. Will we be hungover watching it? There's a strong possibility, but it's gonna be a fun way to start our very long Saturday.
Nothing better than an Irish coffee to start.
That's right.
Well, there's one thing better than Irish coffee.
Irish coffee and mint drizzle,
Well, Irish coffee made drizzle at Darcy's, and who are we going to see? Obviously.
the best bartender in the world.
Shout out Donna. She's the best.
Dan, score predictions.
I'm going to go 3-1 Arsenal.
Okay.
Yeah, and just talking to like how we're gonna set up, not gonna spend too much time. I think it's gonna be similar to what we saw on the Community Shield, and maybe we could talk about that a little bit later. But I think it's gonna be that kind of lineup. I think you will see Havertz playing the 9 until Jesus is back. I thought he held his own, and it also opens up some like Martinelli and Saka on the wings too, because Havertz likes to drop in, and he's good on the link-up play. So yeah, looking forward to it. And hopefully it will be a 3-1 win.
Dan, we're gonna need you to talk louder into the microphone.
Okay.
What we got next?
Next game on our Premier League fixture list is there's a bunch of 10 o'clock, so we'll go West Ham, Bournemouth first.
Clayton, start us off.
I'm really worried for West Ham this season. They sold their best player. Antonio has been kind of, in my opinion, because I've had him the last 2 years in fantasy, on a little bit of a downward hill. Danny Ings,
yeah.
Yep.
Danny Ings was a good signing, I think, for them, and they haven't brought anyone in yet. They just got
rumored.
They just got here we go with Fabrizio for James Ward-Prowse, which I think is huge. They're still in talks for Maguire and McTominay. I am concerned that they're not going to be able to replace Rice and keep the squad fresh, that they might get a little complacent. I think their only saving grace is that they're now in the Europa League and that they can attract some talent at the end of the transfer window.
And I mean, I think it would have been tough for them. Like, replacing Declan Rice is never going to be an easy feat, no matter what. But
Yeah.
they didn't even attempt to.
Well, they got Alvarez.
They did sign
Alvarez, who's a center defensive mid from, I forget where he's from, but he's the Mexican international.
Yeah.
But even just to add to that, I mean, today, strong links of Paqueta to Man City. And that's another big loss for them if he ends up going.
Yeah.
I think they got that what's his name from Ajax, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to say his name? Because I can't.
I don't remember what it is.
I think it's Edson Alvarez, or I might be wrong. But
No, I think you're right.
You're probably right.
All right. Who wants to get the score prediction for West Ham Bournemouth?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'm going to go
They are playing at Bournemouth, I believe.
2-0 Bournemouth.
Yes.
I don't think West Ham even going to go.
2.
Like you said, Clayton, they lost so many players. I feel like they have no system in place, and they're just on a complete downward spiral.
Which I say that with a heavy heart because I love David Moyes and I loved watching them play the last couple seasons, but I do not.
Not a fan of David Moyes.
Well, obviously.
I don't like him.
I'm just really scared for them this season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We got next.
Speaking of interesting, maybe one of the most interesting games of week 1 I think most people are looking forward to is Luton and Brighton. Playing, obviously, at Brighton because Luton Stadium, not ready.
Yeah, we have what? They said maybe 3 to 4 weeks?
It started at 2. I think we're up to 3.
3 to 4, yeah.
There's a chance they don't play, I think, a home game for the first couple months of the season, honestly, with how things are going.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the stadium isn't done yet, and people were saying, actually, I think was it Ben Foster on his podcast came out and said he's played there a few times, and he goes, yeah, when you play on that field, it's not like playing on a carpet. He goes, that is one of the worst maintained fields. So I'm curious to see how that shapes up. But anyway, back to the game. Brighton and Luton. It's gonna be fun, I think. I mean, Brighton's a team that I think might be able to surprise some people this year. I think they're kind of on the upswing a little bit. I think they have some talented players, brought in a couple of guys. They did lose a few, but I think they're going to be just a quick, pacey team. They're going to play physical. And Luton, your first game in the Prem in who knows how long. But they're going to come in, obviously, I think they're going to come in on fire. I don't think they're going to come in and sit back and, be timid. I think they're going to come out of the gates just firing on all cylinders. And it's just going to be, honestly, I think it's just going to be an absolute war. I think it's going to be so much fun to watch. That might be one of, the better
First games.
Yeah.
To answer your previous, 1991-92 was the last time they were in the Prem.
So, yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game, and it's just going to be fast-paced and just a battle all over the field.
I think Brighton's going to be too much for them. I think they're going to get a reality check in the first game. I'm hoping it's a hard-fought battle, like you said. I just think Brighton, after the season last year, they're in Europa this year. I just think they have too much.
I think it'll be a good, test to see, where they are, really. Because Brighton's,
Luton or Brighton?
not a top for Luton.
Okay.
Yeah. No. So, you know what I mean? Brighton's, a not top 4 echelon, but they're, better than half the table.
Could you see them in top 4 this year?
Brighton? I don't know. I could see them in that 6-7. I think that's where you...
I don't think they get top 4 with the extra games in Europa League and stuff.
I can see them in 6-7, but I think that's good for Luton to play that kind of team first. I think you'd be like, okay, this is where we are. This is what our realistic expectations can be based on who our competition is week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I do agree with you, Dan. I think Brighton's going to be too much. I think it's going to be first half is going to be, like I said, a great game and all that war. But I think, the experience of being in the Premier League and the fitness levels and, everything's going to come together for Brighton. And then I think the second half is when they kind of start to pull away. And then maybe that final 15, 20 minutes, they just kind of pour it on.
Yep. I can see that.
I think this is up to Clayton for a score prediction.
Did you do yours yet?
I did.
Oh, you did. Clayton.
I'm going 2-0 Brighton.
Wow, not even giving the guys a goal on their first game back.
I don't think they're going to be. I think Brighton have too good of a system in place.
That's fair. All right.
Just to throw this in there. So I think we should do, if you get the game right, you get a point. If you get the exact score, 2 extra points each week.
So 3 total?
3 points total possibility.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
I'm down.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Keep a tally all season.
Yep.
See who wins.
Yep,
And then, you know what? As we do this, let's go. Well, whoever's listening, watching, whatever it may be, help us decide what the winner gets and maybe a punishment for the loser.
That's fair.
Yeah? So we'll try and keep a
Winner gets a car.
Yeah, winner gets a car.
You get a brand new car.
If PBR would like to sponsor us, yeah, we'll get a goddamn car. PBR, you want to sponsor us and get us a car? Yeah, so no, I think, we'll get some input there and try and figure everything out. Thanks, I was moving around a bit. All right, what's next on our slate here, Garrett?
Next in the 10 o'clocks, Everton Fulham. Anyone would like to discuss Everton Fulham? Would you lead us off with Everton Fulham?
I don't know what to say.
I think this is going to be one of those matches where it's going to be on. All these games are playing at the same time. I think it's going to be a good game, and I think it's kind of going to get lost in the shuffle. I'm really excited to see both teams. I think Everton made a good signing in Danjuma. I thought he was pretty lively when he came on for Spurs in the second half of last season. And I think Fulham are probably not going to start their best lineup with Mitrovic still linked to Saudi and William now linked to Saudi. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it'll be just a fun game to watch where we don't really, the four of us, watch. Sorry, what did I say?
No, I was going to say, we don't watch. It's going to be a fun game to watch that we
don't really have a stake in.
Right.
Yeah. We're going to be watching. We're going to be like, oh, that's cool. He just scored. And we're going to be like, all right, what's all going on over here? I just don't think we're going to have a stake in a game, and it's just going to be a good, entertaining game for us to sit there and watch.
See, I'm on the opposite side of that. I just think that this game is going to be on, and like you said, yes, it's going to get lost in the shuffle, but I can also see this game being on and just absolutely paying zero attention to it. Every time I feel like I'm going to glance over at this game, I'm like, Oh, it's still nothing. Like,
Also
still
curious to see how the whole Everton ownership situation is. It was pretty dark at the end of last season with how things turned out. So
I will say I am excited to see because they're playing at Everton. At Goodison, right? At Goodison?
Yeah.
I was right.
at Goodison, yes.
I'm excited to see if they can come out just on fire. I mean they barely survived last year. I'm excited to see if how their fans, the stadium, to see the reaction to of the supporters. But again, at the same time, I think it might be a quick start. Like maybe you get those fireworks in the first 5 minutes, and I think after that it's just going to be a load of shit. That's just me.
Score predictions or Dan?
I'm
Any
good.
comments on that game?
Who's up
Good.
on score
We don't need to
predictions?
spend.
If we're going to just run it through normal, I'll go for this one. Everton Fulham playing at Goodison. Can we guess ties?
Why not?
I'm going to go 1-1 tie here. 1-1 draw.
I don't hate that.
Okay.
I believe next on the list we had Sheffield hosting Crystal Palace.
Yeah. Sheffield back in the league after a stint in the championship. Should be interesting to see them back. I mean, they're selling some of their best players, which they just sold Sander Berge to Burnley, who was one of their best midfielders last year. They sold I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it, but one of their players, I think it was to PSG or somewhere. But they're not bringing anyone in. I feel like they're weakening their squad as they're getting into the Premier League. Maybe they have something in the works that I don't know of, but either way, I think Crystal Palace, they have some injuries with Olise, but as they started, preseason on fire, I think they're going to be, Ndiaye. Yeah. Was it Marseille?
Ndiaye, they sold to Marseille. Yeah,
Marseille,
he just had his
okay.
first match for them too. He played 75 minutes and got a yellow card.
Oh, nice.
Good for him.
Look at that.
Love
It
to
was
see
a 1-0 loss.
Nah, well, sucks for him. I really don't. I mean, I have not known this game.
I was just say I think this is gonna be the first time if Palace can replace the goals that drawing a blank. Someone help me here.
Zaha.
Thank you.
Oh,
That
Zaha.
Zaha, usually scores for them. I mean, he's pretty much been their key focal point for.
Just while we're talking about Zaha, I'm so excited
4
to
or
see
5 seasons.
Galatasaray in the Champions League. They have made some crazy signings, and I can't wait to see how far they
They're
go.
like
Yeah.
the one team from over there that anyone knows about because they're the only ones that sign anyone of relevancy. I feel like
Over
in
the
that
last
division.
2 years, they've signed
Um,
big name players, and I think it's just nuts. I will save that conversation for Champions League, but I'm so excited to see them
I'm
out
slightly
there.
shocked you know what Champions League is.
Hardy har.
Roasted. I believe this is Dan's prediction, correct?
Yeah, we're up to Dan.
Dan?
Palace 2-0
Palace home or away?
away.
Palace is away. They're at Sheffield. All right. So I believe that we have one more 10 o'clock?
No, I think it's the last 10 o'clock.
That was it. 12:30.
That was it?
We're up to 12:30, and
And
Speaking
I
of who's gonna
have
start
the
this one off.
prediction for this one.
well, no,
too.
we said everyone gets their own team.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah,
he
that's
gets his
fair.
team.
So Clayton, you guys, Aston Villa, traveling to Newcastle. How we feeling? What's the thought process right now? What's going on in that head of yours? Not all of the head of yours. It's a scary place in there, but what we got?
So over the season, I think will be good. I am so nervous to go to Newcastle, though. They've made some great improvements with some good signings. Tonali, that winger that I hate.
Barnes.
Yeah. And,
Harvey Barnes.
and I think going to St. James's Park is going to be such a tall task. It's the atmosphere, the fans over there. I mean, every time we watch it here, it looks electric. Last year when they played that game against City, it was one of the craziest games we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I'm nervous. I'm excited for the overall season, but if I could have picked a game to start with, this was the bottom of the list of games. I wanted to play.
That's a fair point.
I don't know if it's because I have some, a little bit of a soft spot for Villa just because of you.
Thanks, Brian.
It might be, but for some reason, I don't know why. I see them, obviously, they had a pretty decent finish in the table last season. I think they kind of float around maybe the same this year. But, Newcastle the past couple of years has been on the come up, and I do think this game, for being the standalone game on, day 2 of the season on the Saturday, I think it's going to be fun. I think both these teams are going to have tons of chances each. I think both these teams are, in the back specifically. I think there could be a couple mistakes that may lead to a few chances. But I'm actually really excited for this game, and I think it could be, from the first minute to the 90th, it could be a game of inches. It's going to come down to the very last minute, I think.
Yeah, I would say as far as the Saturday slate for someone who doesn't have their own personal team playing, this is probably the game I'm most excited to watch.
I would agree with you, yeah.
So predictions, Clayton.
What do you got?
Will he be a
Now,
homer? Will he play with his heart or his head?
I was going to say, is he going to go with the heart? Is he going to go with the head? Speaking of, if you're listening to this,
I came from work.
not even in Jersey.
I'm wearing,
Not even a
I'm
t-shirt.
wearing a work shirt. All right, I'm sorry.
Speaking of work, Clayton's work sponsor us. Carry on.
All right, what do you got?
I think we're gonna go 1-1. I think we're gonna get a lucky goal, and I think Newcastle's probably gonna dominate, and Emery's gonna sit us back because it's the first game, which I have no problem with, and I think we're gonna have a little bit of a slip up. Which a tie, the first game of the season, I'm okay with.
The slip, like you said, a little bit of slip up for the goal.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you meant like as a game in the game overall, like you should win, but you slip up and you tie.
No, I think a tie. I would be okay with the tie. I would love 3 points, but I think going to St. James's first game of the season, playing a good team.
It's not an easy game.
I think that
I think
I would be happy with the
think that's a
tie.
good
I would
result.
love 3 points.
I think that's a good result for you. Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. And like you said, I don't know, Newcastle away to start the season. Even as a Man United fan, I would be a little like I'm even nervous about that game.
Yeah,
I would love to play
one
them.
wants to start
Yeah,
that
that's
game
a
away.
tough start.
I would love to play them in like the middle of a Champions League week where they're playing, Real Madrid midweek, and then they have to come to us. The better teams could be playing against Real Madrid.
I forgot because you guys don't really play.
All right, moving on to Sunday morning slate. We have 2 games, possibly the game of the week, and another game. So the 9 o'clock at Brentford, we have Brentford Spurs. This, I think, is going to be big based on one sole factor.
I think this will be a good game, honestly.
It's gonna be an interesting one. I like this game.
Yeah, I think this could be a good one, especially because it's at Brentford too. Obviously, the thing you were alluding to is Kane, and the decision about Kane is probably going to be made by
Friday.
before this game
By
starts.
Friday, they said.
By Friday. So this also has implications to fantasy later, but we'll talk about that. But yeah, I think, Spurs under a new manager, and I think he's going to come out, guns blazing. I don't know. I really feel like this is going to be a back and forth game.
And you know what? You both just said the big question, the big thing circling this game is Harry Kane. He stays, he goes. I'm still kind of curious to see what their lineup's going to be. And another thing is too. I mean, Son, can he have a bounce back year? At the same time, I think Brentford just getting rid of he confirmed that he's moving Raya, their keeper.
Yeah.
So who gets the nod in goal? I'm not really sure who their backup is.
I forgot the guy's name.
Flecken,
It's very
I
long.
think.
Is it Flecken?
I think so.
It might be. So again, now, and I'm not sure.
That's fucking crazy.
I hate you.
Nope.
Nice.
0.5 out of 10.
1.2. So, I'm curious to see if, again, I think Tottenham's going to come out guns blazing, taking shots on fire, and for a keeper who probably hasn't seen Premier League action, I'm curious to see how he's going to handle it. If he's going to be nervous, if he's going to make simple mistakes, or if he's going to rise to the occasion and just completely stand on his head and keep him in the game. It's going to be interesting.
I don't really have much else to say other than that. I mean, if Kane does leave, I would love to see the Madison Sun show this season for Spurs.
Yeah.
And Richarlison.
Madison.
Now, out of curiosity, Dan,
Madison.
if Kane does leave, do you hate Spurs a little less, or is it still just that much hate?
No. I still hate Spurs as much. I probably hate Kane less.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
I'm just curious as like
No.
the London rivalry. Just like,
No, yeah, I hate Spurs. Kane, I hate him because he's on Spurs, but he's one of the best. He's probably the best forward. Well, we'll see. I mean, that's probably a conversation for another day, but
Dan can
definitely
compliment him
one of
yet,
the
he hasn't
best.
left yet.
One of the best
We'll circle back.
forwards. One of the best forwards the Premier League's ever seen. So
Perfect.
I believe this is mine.
This is you,
Okay.
yes.
Um,
We should have what? 10 games, so it's going to be like,
it should be.
we're going to have a little bit of an odd number, but
That's all right.
we'll all pick the last game or whatever makes it even. just
Yeah.
to make it
I'm gonna go. Oof. I think Brentford do get a goal. I'm gonna go 3-1 Spurs.
3-1 Spurs.
Yeah, for mark it down as for the winner. So you're writing out everyone's name, and then I just get BS. Why? Is that my picks are bullshit?
I wrote
Is that 'cause
Clay.
I-
No, I wrote Clay for Clayton.
He's writing BS because he thinks my picks are bullshit.
I
Granted, they definitely fucking are.
think we can agree this is probably the game of the week coming up. Chelsea-Liverpool.
Oh hell yeah!
At Stamford Bridge.
Oh hell yeah!
I think Chelsea might be the biggest question mark of most people's season with
Oh, 100%.
new manager, a lineup that I couldn't even begin to
Numerous
guess.
signings
Yeah, I can't even begin to guess.
out the fucking ass.
And
Yeah.
signings still rumored today with Adams coming from Leeds. So I can't even begin to guess this game because I don't even know how they set up to start this game.
Yeah, and you know what? I think on the flip side of that too, I mean, you look at Liverpool; they have tons of attacking options as well.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in the middle of the field, and the back line, maybe that's kind of shored up. You can probably make a pretty accurate guess there and prediction of how they're going to start. But is he doing something stupid again?
No, it was just the trains
The
in the
train's
background.
going by.
You always fuck that train.
By the way, we live by a train station, so if you hear a train,
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah. But like I was saying, I feel like the back line, the middle for Liverpool, at least in the center of the field, it's going to be kind of you can probably predict that lineup pretty accurately. But up top, I feel like they have a number of players that can start up top, which only makes it scary if, it's a close game or Chelsea are holding on, and then you see, one or two top strikers come off the bench in the 60th minute for Liverpool. So I have no idea which way this game's going to go.
Yeah, I think preseason Chelsea's looked good. I know they have an entirely new squad. I think they were undefeated in their tour in the USA, which obviously isn't saying like a ton, but it's saying something. And Kuku's out for months with an injury, which sucks for them.
Months.
He's getting surgery, so it's
Wow,
going to be months.
okay.
Yeah. So I think Liverpool are going to be a little too much for Chelsea to handle. But on the flip side, Liverpool's scoring a lot of goals in preseason, but they're also conceding a lot. I know we mentioned that last week. So I really think this game has the potential of seeing like 6 or 7 goals in this game.
Would
That
love
would
that.
be awesome.
Yeah, the first big game of the season, I'd be so down for a 6 or 7 goal game.
Who has the pick in this?
I think we both
I
all do
think-
the next 2.
Based on math, yeah, we all have to do the next 2.
Yeah.
So, I think game of the week, that'd be a fun one for us all to pick.
Okay.
So we'll start off. Clayton will go left to right on the couch. Clayton, what do you think?
I'm going to say 2-1 Chelsea.
Okay.
I'm going to go 3.
You just said there's going to be 6 or 7 goals in this game.
I'm going to go 3-2. I'm going to go 5 goals.
He said there could be. Who?
I'm going to go 3-2 Liverpool.
I'm gonna go with Dan's 6 or 7 goals. I'm gonna go 3-3. We're gonna go 3-3 draw. And Garrett, round us off.
I think I'm going to go 3-1 pool. Liverpool,
All right.
obviously.
Which
Thanks for clarifying.
thanks.
In case anyone didn't know what I was trying
It's
to
not
do
called Chelsea pool, so.
there. Could be.
So, last game of the weekend, right?
Last game of the weekend. Brian
Monday.
will lead us off with Man United Wolves.
Yeah, so Man United Wolves, we're at Old Trafford. I think this is a game that I know it's the first game of the year, but I think, Ten Hag's start for last season coming in as a new manager was kind of abysmal. They struggled to get results. So I think to kind of flip the switch, they have to come in on fire this game. The only real question mark is Højlund, the new signing up top. Will he start? I mean, he's rumored to have some back problems. Which again, if he does, great. Let's see what he could do. He's 19, so that'd be fun to watch. If not, I mean, you have Rashford. So, I mean, I don't really see, besides the whole Garnacho and Sancho on maybe the right side, I think the lineup is almost kind of set in stone. But I do think, United, kind of like City, like you mentioned before, they have this unfortunate tradition of starting, this season slow. Didn't have the best of preseasons, but I mean, again, a lot of players got some time. They got their legs under them. But I do think United have to come out from the first minute absolutely on fire and get a result at home. Clayton, I thought you were going to say something.
Comments on the game?
I think you have a comment over there.
I want to know what you think the lineup's going to be for United.
Assuming Højlund plays or doesn't play.
I just want to know who Brian thinks the starting 11 will be, based on the information he has right now.
Based on the information I have right now, okay. Onana in goal, Martinez and Varane in center back, Shaw and Wan-Bissaka on the outsides, Eriksson and Casemiro. In front of them, Bruno. And then the three up top. Rashford down the middle. Sancho on the left, Antony on the right.
Eriksen's over Mount?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I
By the
think
way,
that's
confirmed he's not playing week 1, Hoyland. Ten had confirmed it yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. I think, and again, I haven't watched every preseason game, but based off what I've seen, everything a lot has been running through Eriksen. But again, that may be because a lot of the times Bruno wasn't in.
He's also played a season under 10 next, so he knows the system a little bit more.
So I either way, I'm okay. I guess I'm okay with Mountain there. Again, I haven't seen enough to really, and like Garrett just said, in his system to know what's going on. But I think if anything, that would be the first change of the game. Anyone else?
I think this would be if United doesn't pull a result here at home, I think that would be a big.
I said,
Yeah, Wolves just just parted ways with their coach too, so they have a new coach coming in.
They were already on the bottom tier last year.
Yeah, I think this should be an easy one for United, but then again, first game of the season, who knows? But
Exactly.
Yeah, but like I said, I feel like we start bad every year. Do I get this one then? Because my team.
We all have to get this one to make things even.
I'm gonna go 3-1 United. I think we get. I think we kind of switch off in the last 5 minutes and concede. But yeah, I'm gonna go 3-1.
Clayton?
2-0 United.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
1-0 United.
Not gonna lie, guys, I can't type this fast with one hand. I'm gonna go with 4-0 United.
Oh,
Everyone thinks United's winning. Wow.
Which means we're gonna fucking lose.
Dan, can you say your score prediction once again?
Dan?
Yes, please.
Me 1-0.
Thank you.
There's a thing that I always use, and I use it for pretty much all my sports teams because they're all trash.
DraftKings.
I said a thing, not king. I think a lot of people probably say this, but I just lost it.
Just lost what?
My train of thought.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Where were you going?
Should we come back to that?
Oh my god!
All right, so moving on to our next segment.
Dude, what the fuck's wrong with me?
Okay, so
What we got next? Disappointed but not
a
surprised.
fan favorite that we used to do back when we had the podcast a couple years ago. Bold takes. This is going to be for the season. So it could be anything. It could be player related. It could be team related, points related. Just anything you think is a bold take for the season. We can go left to right. We can go right to left. However you guys.
You start us
run
off.
this. You want me to start
Now,
off?
are we gonna go one each right now?
One each, just one bold take for the
whole
season,
season.
and we'll review them at the end and see if we were even close.
All right, then I have to change my take to make it bolder.
And we could see. We'll judge if it's a bold take or not.
That's fair.
Is that fair?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, it has to be a 2-1 vote. Has to win it.
Okay.
Out of the other people.
My bold take for the season.
Don't take mine.
I don't think I'm going to. Watkins finishes top 3 in the Golden Boot race.
Oh, I love that take. That is a great take.
Is that because he's on your fantasy team? Is that wishful thinking? Or is that?
We'll get to that. We'll get to fantasy.
Is that bold enough?
I mean, what did he end up with last year? 17?
He was 10th in the boot race last year.
Top 3?
Top 3.
I'll give it to you.
I'll give it to you. I think
Sure.
That's bold.
I don't think he can't do it. I just think the competition between Haaland, Salah, Rashford, Nicholas Jackson, Kane or Son, whoever's the front man at Spurs, I just think there's a lot of competition for those 3 spots. So that's a good take.
I like that take.
All right, that's mine.
All right, I have mine. And I might have mentioned this. I don't know, probably didn't. But last pod, I'm gonna
Probably
go.
mentioned this, probably didn't.
I don't remember anything anymore, man. I'm gonna go with the newcomers. We're gonna go Luton. I'm saying 12th or better.
12th or better.
12th or better.
Wow, that's really.
Well,
Yeah,
I got
definitely
based off
hot
those
take.
reactions. That's bold.
That's a
That's
hot
bold.
take.
Yeah, I don't get to poll the audience
You
for
know,
that
man.
one.
I don't know. I just I feel it. I feel it.
I don't know what you're feeling, but
I mean, originally I was gonna go Burnley, but for some reason, in the past 5 years,
I would have said that's less bold.
Yeah, I know. I would have changed the position,
That's fair.
but I don't know. For some reason, I hate Burnley. I don't know what it's about them. I just don't like them. So we're gonna go Luton. We're gonna go top 12 finish this year. I got faith. I got faith in them. I don't know why. I just think it's gonna be an underdog Cinderella story. I'm
And
ready
you
for
gotta
it.
have faith. Okay.
Do you mind if nope.
I don't want to get the MC8 here.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All right, Dan.
Mine's similar to yours and like where a team's gonna finish on the table. I was gonna do Everton to finish 10th or better.
Wow.
So top half finish.
Normally, I would say that ain't that bold, but based off their past 3 seasons.
I can do something else if you want, but I
Based
feel
off
like
based off their past 3 seasons, I'm gonna give it to you.
You know, I'm going to say that's not a hot take.
okay.
I think that
They were almost
The
they were
history-
fighting for relegation.
I think that Everton have been in the Prem for a long time. They've
That's
got a good
historical,
manager
though.
now.
All right, I'll think of
I
something
think
else.
that-
You go.
No, hang on. It goes up to a
It
vote.
goes to Garrett.
All right.
It goes to
Let's go
Garrett.
with me.
Top 10 finish
I'm
for
just trying to
Everton.
put someone under some pressure.
Honestly,
love it.
I would have. If you would have said Europe, I would have said it was bold.
Oh my god. All right, so you go, and I'll think of something
Oh
else.
no, we have our first rejection of the night. Nope. I got your back.
Anything you say, I'm declining.
I got you.
My hot take is that the treble hangover Manchester City plays out of the top 4.
Wow.
That's bold.
I don't have to
talk about the poll.
That's more of a wish than a take. I don't think it will happen,
don't-
but I think that's a
I don't
good
even
take.
think that's bold. I think that's just insanity.
I thought you were gonna say top 2, and I would have been like, that's still bold. So.
All right, let me change it.
Nope.
The treble hangover-
No. It's
Already-
I want to change it now. I want
Oh.
to change it now.
Already said it.
The treble hangover, they don't win a trophy.
No, it's locked in. You locked in your pick.
Damn it. All
Wow,
right,
RP
fine.
just
locked
spiked.
in your pick. You got
Sorry for anyone listening because we just spiked so loud during that conversation.
We had every right to. He's trying to change his bold prediction.
Outside top 4. Outside top 4,
Bullshit.
it's locked in.
Dude, I hate that team. And
Tell you what though, if you get it right, you look like a freaking genius.
I've never wanted them
All
to
right.
lose every game ever.
Here we go. Just clip it. I don't give a fuck. If they finish outside the top 4, we will shake on this right now. I will give you $100. There we go.
Do I have to do anything if they lose?
Nope.
If they will.
That's how fucking confident
All
I am.
right, fair.
Dan, you have one yet?
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right. Bruno Fernandes
Ah, shit.
to get more than 15 goals and 15 assists in the season.
So he'll have 30
Goal
goal.
contributions. Well,
So you guys got 15.
15
each?
and 15 each. Yeah.
Okay.
That is a hot
All right,
take.
so it can't be like 10.
Yeah.
All right.
I think
Yeah.
that's a hot take.
Yeah.
I will give you that one. That's
I'll
a
give-
lot.
I'll give you
Yeah.
that. That's a lot.
That'd be the hell of a
Yeah.
fucking season though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I forgot.
That's
what
a
the first, by the way.
championship season
Dude,
right there.
Yeah.
Dan, do I think it's going to happen? Probably
Yeah.
not. Do I want you to be right here?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do.
Brian is pulling for me and you so hard this season
I know.
What?
for our hot takes.
Oh, hell yeah. All right.
All right, so that's our bold takes for the season. Let's see how they all pan out as we run down.
And you know what? I think throughout the year we'll throw in some bold predictions for the weekends.
Oh
Here and
yeah,
there.
well, I mean
We'll
that's always
chuck
a
out some bold
popular saying,
predictions
but we
every
have to
now
have
and
our
Oh,
preview
yeah,
fantasy,
season
our
doesn't
preview
start
season
yet.
ones.
I can't wait for my hot take to get ripped apart.
All right,
What we got next?
game number 2 for the week. The over/under game is a little bit new. We never did this one back in the day. So we're just going to give a number of a certain stat or something for a team, and we're just going to say are we think over or under. So we'll ask the first question to the fellas on the couch.
That's all of us.
Do we think, right, fellas on the couch,
Nice.
three next to me. I'm going to ask the first question. It's going to be, do we think Luton scores over or under 19.5 points this season?
Where'd you get that line from?
I made it up.
Okay.
If I was a betting man, I am. Hammer that over.
Well, considering you just said 12th or better for Luton as your bold take, I was hoping you would take the
Hammer
over.
the fucking over. No. I don't know. I think they beat. I think they beat teams that are, I think they beat the two teams that came up. I think they might pick on the teams like kind of like West Ham that are kind of falling off a little bit, and then I think they get some sneaky points. They get some top teams. Unfortunately for Clayton, when Villa finally goes in there, when they open their stadium, Villa's going to go in there and they're going to get their ass kicked. I'm telling you right now. I'm sorry to tell you.
Boo this
just-
man.
They just are. But I'm saying, I think they beat the new teams, the other two teams that came up, the teams that are kind of on the downswing that have been flirting with relegation the past few years. And I do think they pick up a sneaky draw here and there, maybe, squeak out a crazy 1-0 win somewhere. And again, it goes hand in hand with my bold take for the season, but I think Luton goes over the 19.5.
All right. Dan?
I'm gonna go I'm going to go under.
Boo this man.
Yeah, I think they're going back down. Sorry.
Clayton?
I'm going to go over. I mean,
So in
the
theory-
line is 19.5. Southampton had 22 last season, and they finished dead last. I feel like they can pull out at least 20 points.
All right.
That's fair.
I
Garrett?
think that's kind of where I pulled. I think I looked where Southampton was dropped a couple points off because it was Luton, and then that's kind of where the line
What about
came
you,
from.
Garrett?
I have to answer my own question.
Yeah, why the hell not?
I don't know. I thought like
You set the line. You know, you're right there.
under.
Boo this man.
Okay. Does someone want to ask the next question then?
Yeah, I'll go.
What do you got?
Over under Spurs finish 8th in the table if, or I guess 7.5.
7.5.
If Kane leaves.
If he leaves.
Under.
Wait.
So meaning
Better
they're
or
gonna
wor-
finish
better or
better.
worse?
Worse. I think they'll finish
Worse.
worse. if he
Okay.
leaves.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna say they just sneak it out and they finish 7th. I think Son's gonna, if he goes, I think Son is gonna have that resurgence year, that bounce back year, and he's gonna step up big time for them, and he's gonna literally put that team on his back and carry them to a top 7 finish.
Okay.
I will say worse. I believe worse.
Just for reference, last year they finished 8th with him. So
Oh, and Philip finished 7th. Love looking at that table.
Dan, what was your thought?
I think they're gonna finish worse.
Am I the only one that picked better?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Clayton, would you like to ask a question?
I don't have a laptop because Brian stopped
It's
working.
okay. You can make one up if you like.
Yeah. What do you got?
Or you can look at the one's on here.
This one. You can change
do we
the
think
number.
Holland will match his goal scoring record from last season?
Well,
I think we should drop the number on that one. What about 30?
Do you think I was going to say 25? Do you think he'll have more than 25
We're go-
Premier League
Premier
goals?
League. God, I hope so. It's my fantasy team. Unfortunately, I'm gonna say, what's the line? 25 and a half, 24 and a half.
24 and a half.
Well,
24
24 and a half is the line.
Just misses it at like 22. I'm going under.
That's a lot of goals. I'm going under too.
Yeah, it's a lot.
He hit 36 in the Premier League last year.
I also want them to crash
over.
out of the top four. So
I'm going under.
I'm going to go over, but I do think it will be less than last year. I think it's going to be around that 26 mark.
Yeah.
Hey, Clayton, why you're up?
Clayton, while you're up, Clayton's getting us all beers for the second round.
Yay, thanks, Clayton.
Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, the 36 was a record-breaking blowout year. I think this year he gets a little bit more rested during games. I think they went for everything last year in all four. They wanted to get the treble so much, but I think this year he might get a little more rest with Alvarez and even Cole Palmer showing some spurts.
Thanks,
so,
Matty.
so I think he'll get over, but I think it'll be much less than last year.
Sorry, Dan. I think Dan leaning back his mic with the leather couch just made the
Oh, did you hear all that?
craziest sound.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Those
Those
the
of
beer's
you,
cracking.
Those of you who are listening, more sponsorships. Hey Miller, and
yeah, we're at a PBR.
and Mickey. Yeah, sorry. PBR, send us some. We're out. I personally don't have any over under.
So we can just do the
lines.
3. That's fine.
But no, I think I like where we're at with those. And again, everything that we kind of do tonight on this episode, can kind of be a running thing. Can always go back to this, do some more of these. But we'll keep those going throughout the year. So should we move on to we got one more, let's say, segment to talk about, and then one little final wrap up question here. We're gonna get in. So yesterday, so it was what. We're recording this on Thursday, so Wednesday was yesterday?
Today's Wednesday, Brian.
Jesus Christ, I'm all fucked up. So we're recording this on Wednesday. So Tuesday, we had our EPL fantasy draft.
Where did we have it?
We had it at Darcy's Tavern, of course.
Bradley Beach, shout out.
Love that place. So what we're gonna do now, we're kind of we're just gonna chit chat about fantasy a little bit now. We aren't. Obviously, you go online, you look everything up. Like, there's people who claim to be fantasy experts, this and that.
We are not those people.
No, we're not. However, I am currently, like we said, on Clayton's computer because my computer's a load of garbage, and he has this roster pulled up. I might just start trading players to myself. I don't know yet. But yeah, we're kind of gonna dive into dive into a little bit of fantasy talk here.
Yeah, so we had the draft, like we said last week. It's like a snake draft, so you have first pick, second pick, all the way through 12. It's a 12-man league. I don't know if we mentioned that last year. It's a 12-man league, so picks get a little bit harder when you get to
late rounds,
even past third or fourth. I mean, so just so we can specify this, so you have to play a regular formation that you would play in an actual game.
Can't just stack your lineup with forwards and midfielders and play like 2 defenders. Doesn't work like that.
Correct. And now, however, they don't have to be in correct position. So you could have 3 right backs, you could have 3 left backs, you could have a mix. Forwards, they could all be on the right side. It doesn't have to be specific to positions, but it has to be at least forward, midfield, defender.
Yeah, because you look at what NBC does their fantasy, and NBC does one where they do every week. You got a budget, you got to draft. This guy, you got to buy your players, whatever, and 1 player per position. Like Gary just said, you can have 3 left backs as your starting backs. You can have 3 right wingers. It doesn't matter. So.
And let's just recap. I know we spoke about it a little bit last week. Just recap kind of how the scoring works. So it's more than just scoring and assisting goals. Like defenders get points for clean sheets, clearances, aerials, interceptions. Midfielders, shots on target, key passes, which is like a pass to a shot, shots on target, crosses, all like
successful dribbles. I think is one.
Yeah, dribbles, take-ons, things like that. So
aerial wins is another one.
Yeah, so
a bunch.
So everything like that gets taken into account. So there might be players that don't score a ton of goals or assist a lot, but they may be good. Like we use a system Fantrax. They may be good Fantrax players or fantasy players because they get a lot of aerials or, a lot of shots, key passes, things like that. So just keep that in mind when we go through our teams. And
yeah, and if you do any other fantasy soccer, this isn't, like Dan just mentioned, we use Fantrax. So the scoring is going to be different. You're going to, you might see a different, top 10 players on your app or website than we have here. So Garrett, I see you have the Garrett is the league commish. I see you have the draft results pulled up.
I do. I will run through round 1 just to see who everyone picked. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah,
top 12 picks of the draft.
Yeah, we'll do that in order.
Okay. So I'm not gonna say whose name is who, but we'll go through our own personal teams later. But this is just in order the first 12 picks of the draft. At number 1, Erling Haaland. Number 2, Salah. 3, Bruno. 4 was Saka. 5, De Bruyne. 6 was Trent. 7, James Maddison. 8, Marcus Rashford. 9, Kieran Trippier. 10, Son. 11, Solly Marsh. And 12, Martin Odegaard. So that was the first round. Ran through a lot of midfielders, a lot of forwards, and I think a couple defenders mixed in as well.
Yeah. There's one player in that first round that really stands out to me. Wasn't expecting him to go first round. That was Solly Marsh. I don't know if anyone else felt the same thing, but
yeah, that was a weird take.
Yeah,
he had a good season last year, but I don't know if he
not a first round season.
Not a first round pick.
He was picked before Odegaard.
Yeah. Was that Owen?
Owen. I really thought
if you go off points from last year, he had like 14 points a game. So he finished like great. Top 5 or something.
Shocker! The person who finished dead last at the craziest pick in the first round. By the way, if you do come in dead last in our league, you must show up to Darcy's. Shout out Darcy's for like the 9th time today. You must show up there on the first game week wearing your rival team's jersey and audibly cheer for them, which is kind of funny. So Owen, Man City fan, I have tons of Man U jerseys that he's going to have to pick from, and it's going to be a blast watching him do that because that's hilarious to me.
So now for a fun thing, we're going to have the people of social media get to pick who drafted. Granted, we have 16 players on our team, but we're going to go through our best 11. That's basically what you would start in a week, is your best 11. So we are going to go through that, and we're going to let you guys vote on who had the best draft. Before we say our teams, we're going to say what pick we had so you understand why we might have the players we have. So I think since you had the first pick, Brian, we'll let you go first, and we'll go in order of picks. Okay.
All right, I'm going to preface this by saying...
Don't preface anything.
I'm going to preface it. I have no fucking clue how this team's going to do this year. So I had the first overall pick. Just looking at my roster, it goes from defender to forward. Here are my starting 11 as of right now. Reece James, Fabian Schär. I have Kenny Tete, Casemiro, Gibbs White, Iwobi, Hamid Traore from Bournemouth, Asensio from Brighton, Haaland, and to round it all off, I have Wisa from Brentford. And that's as of right now, my starting and best 11.
Did you share a keeper?
I didn't. I have in goal Ramsdale.
Okay.
So my starting 11 is Dan Byrne, Matty Cash, and Kyle Walker in the back. Jack Grealish, World Cup winner Alexis McAllister, Saka, Douglas Luiz, and Suek from West Ham. And my front two are Richarlison and Kane. And Kane was a very hot take.
If Kane stays, you're golden, baby.
If Kane
You're
stays, that is a
stacked.
great team. If he leaves, I am boned.
Who do you got in goal?
I don't want to say because it's a Wolves player. I have Jose Sa. I wanted Martinez.
I think he was one of the best fantasy goalies.
Yeah, he was pretty good last year.
I don't care. He
That
plays
was-
for Wolves.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He got so many saves.
Yeah. Dan?
Yeah, I had the 7th pick, and I'll go from goalkeeper to forward. I have Bernd Leno in goal, Ben Mee, James Tarkowski, and Virgil van Dijk at defense. Midfield, I have Joelinton, Paqueta, James Madison. I have Kevin Schade from Brentford. And then forwards, I have Brian Mbeumo from Brentford, Gabriel Jesus, and Rasmus Højlund. Those two are injured, but still of my best 11.
Garrett, finish it off here.
All right. With the 10th pick in the draft, going from keeper, I have Ederson, Matt Doherty from Wolves, Robertson, Timber, and then my midfield is Barnes, Matthias Jensen from Brentford, Tielemans from Villa, Harry Wilson of Fulham, and then my 3 forwards are Kai Havertz, Son, and Ollie Watkins.
All right. Like we said, out of the 4 of us here, obviously we're not going to run through all 12 teams because that would be obviously extremely long. But out of the 4 of us here, we want to hear what you guys think. As of right now, before the season even started, who do you think has the best 11 right now? Obviously, we all have, I think, 5, 6 players on the bench as well that we didn't run through. So you never know going forward. But
Also have Ivan Toney on my bench.
yeah, you took some risks.
I just hope they pay off.
Yeah.
So
So
pay off late. You never know.
So going forward, we obviously, we want to have fantasy a part of the show. So I think what we have kind of written down here, and if we have anything else, guys, jump in, and if you guys have any suggestions. So for fantasy, each week, we're going to cover through fan tracks, of course, 'cause that's what we use. We're going to cover the top 3 scores of the week. We're going to go over our positions in the table, and then we're going to talk about our best matchups of the week. So who had the closest score, who was the highest scoring team, which team, severely overperformed. So each week, probably towards the end of the show, we'll kind of wrap up with some of these, some fantasy talk, just to see, give you guys some information where we're at. And obviously, if you guys have any suggestions or if you have any sleeper picks, anybody on the waiver wire that you guys think we should grab. Obviously, you don't know everyone who's been drafted, but, it'd be cool to see who you guys might think. That being said, any more fantasy talk before we get into the final question of the night? Anyone?
Good.
Okay. So this was Clayton.
So
Clayton came out with this one, so we'll let him
thank you, Brian.
bring it out.
With everyone having crazy seasons last season, City winning the treble, United having a great season under Ten Hag, and Arsenal having an amazing season with Mikel Arteta, and Villa obviously having a spectacular season. I thought we should decide what would we consider a successful season for our teams for this year.
In our eyes.
In our eyes. What would add in a year from now to 10 months from now, what would we look back and say, you know what, that was a good season? What would make us say that? So we'll start with Garrett, whose team probably,
Has the
you
highest
can't say
expectation.
a treble. You can't be like, oh, well, you can, but that would be, I feel like, unrealistic.
In my eyes, I would be happy. It's crazy that you can say this, but it's like I'd be happy with the Prem and a domestic, and I think I'm okay with that.
So doing like a domestic double.
Yeah, I think that would be. Listen, again, the treble would be fantastic. Don't get me wrong, and if we're being realistic, to do that again would be insane. But I think winning the Prem is goal number 1 this year. We got rid of the Champions League, monkey off our back. So Prem and 1 domestic, either FA or Carabao, and I would say that's a successful season for us.
Brian?
You just mentioned, we had a pretty tough start last year, but then under Ten Hag, we got it together. We had a pretty good run towards the middle and the end. Top 3 finish. I think for me, for Man United to have a successful season this year, it's similar to last year. It needed a trophy and a top 2 finish. I don't care where the trophy comes from. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Champions League, Europa League, Premier League. I mean, that would kill 2 birds, 1 stone. But a trophy of any sort, really, and a top 2 finish, in my eyes, is a successful year for Man U.
So you win the FA Cup, but you place 3rd. You're still getting Champions League ball next year. Are you upset?
Kinda, yeah. I want a top 2 finish, and I want to keep it close at least. If it is 3rd, I want it to be separate. I want us to only lose out in first by like 4 points. I want to keep it close.
You want a title race?
I want a race. I want us to actually put on a race for a change. Haven't done it in a while. Yeah, so we'll go with that. For United to be successful in my eyes, it has to be a Premier League title race and a trophy of any sort.
So at what point in the season would you, when United are officially out of the title race, will you still consider it a successful season? Are we talking Christmas, halfway point? Are we talking, the end of the last 2 weeks of the season? What stage is this still a successful season if you place 2nd or 3rd and win another domestic cup?
I mean, if we hit Christmas and we are pretty much out of the race.
Let's say you're 10 points off at Christmas. But you win the FA Cup at the end of the year. Are you happy? Are you a happy kid?
I got to see how after Christmas goes. I mean, there's still plenty of games left. If by then, I'll say by Christmas, if it's 15 points or more, you got to get at least 2 trophies, or else this season is just shot to hell. If we're out of a title race by 15 points at Christmas, you better don't start everybody and just focus on cups and focus on trophies at that point. Because if we're 15 points out by Christmas, I don't care. I'm done.
Fair.
Dan?
Daniel.
It's tough because I'm similar to Brian. After our season last year, being so close to Premier League title, only to drop stupid points to teams that we shouldn't have dropped points to. I think we have to be in a title race again. We need to win a trophy. We already won the Community Shield, but
does that count
no.
for you?
It's a preseason trophy. Nobody cares.
No. But we need to win either FA Cup or Carabao. Title race in the EPL. And I'm going to say semi-final Champions League appearance.
Oof, I was going to ask, too.
That's a stretch.
That is a lot.
Dude, I'll be lucky if we get to the knockout round.
I'm saying
So
at least one trophy, title race in the Premier League, and semi-final appearance in Champions League.
You go to quarterfinals. Failure of season for you?
Not failure, but not
successful.
The expectation you want.
yeah.
Not what you wanted. All right, that's fair.
You go to finals, lose
Because we added the
no
depth
trophy.
that we needed. So
I like that.
You
What'd you say?
make it to the finals, lose the finals in the Champions League.
Yeah.
You don't win a trophy.
Finish second in the Premier League.
But you finish in the top 4. So no trophy, you're in the
not
Champions
successful.
League final.
I like that. I like
trophy.
that. I
Need a
like
trophy.
that. He
That
wants
is
trophies. I like that.
insane.
No, I like
But
that.
you're measured by trophies. Like that's just
You
how
are
it's
measured by
Dude,
trophies,
all right, so
absolutely. But think
you-
about where they were 3 years ago.
Yeah, but you lose in the final.
Look how
Guess
much money they've invested into the club and how
No,
much
you're not wrong.
who they've been buying and
Clayton, you lose in the final. Guess what you are? You're the first loser. That's what you are.
Wouldn't you be the last loser?
You're the first loser.
Aren't you the last person that lost?
But you would technically finish second, which is the first loser, because you didn't win.
I feel like both of these answers could be correct.
Yeah, they both can
I
be.
feel like it's the way you frame it.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, well done.
Clayton, how's
Clay,
Villa
what do you
gonna do?
got? Yeah, how's
What's,
Villa?
what's their
Oh,
success look
what's-
like?
I've
What's your
spent
success
so
with
much
Villa?
time going over this question, and I proposed it to everybody. So
You better have a goddamn good answer.
I have. Let me turn my head around.
Oh, God, here we go.
So
Do you want to stare into the camera? Stare into the soul of the people?
listen, Villa. I think a successful season for us is European football again next year. It could be the Conference League. It could be the Europa League. I don't care if we drop 10 points from last season. If we get European football again next year, I think that's a successful season. Because if you look at the other teams that have had similar models of us, if you look at Everton all those years ago, West Ham, Leicester, all those teams hit great strides of European football, and West Ham who are still in it, but their domestic levels have dropped off so far.
That's a good point.
Leicester relegated,
Yeah.
Everton are in the fight. West Ham were
in the fight
last
pretty
season.
much,
I don't want to see that happen again.
You're not going to be fighting to stay up. That's,
No way.
That's not happening with your squad. But
No. So ideally, I would love European football and a cup final. I would like to see us in either, if we place 6th place and get Europa League and we're in the Europa Conference League final, that's a great season because it's something for, at least in my lifetime, I haven't witnessed or I don't remember Aston Villa having any, with the exception of the championship final. I don't remember any cup finals for us.
That's
Right.
fair.
So for me, that would be a great accomplishment. That'll be a great first full season of Emmy's tenure. And on top of that, we're not starting the season 13 games back. Jared had 13 games where we were terrible. And now
Horrible.
we have a whole season. So European football, 24-25, cup final.
Lock it in. All right, and that actually puts us at right about an hour.
Yeah,
which is
an
usually
hour
what we're
mark.
kind of trying to shoot for each episode. So we ran our rundown like we wanted to. We are giddy with excitement again. As I
Oh,
said,
I can't wait.
It's literally like
we're so back.
so
We've
back.
Back.
never been more back.
And if you're listening to this, shout out to the guy from Darcy's that recognizes us every time because we are back.
Yeah.
See you Saturday.
We'll see you
Yes,
Saturday.
We should probably, what's his name? We should learn.
Handshake.
Yeah, handshake guy.
He was there when we were doing the draft, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. I don't know. Either way, so again, follow us on all the socials. League Pints on Instagram, TikTok, Premier League and Pints on YouTube, and on any podcast that you may listen to us, podcast platform you may listen to us on. We're gonna have some good TikToks coming out of this episode, I think, and Instagram Reels and
Yeah.
YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, like I said, be on the lookout for, some more bold takes throughout the season, some fantasy updates from us, trades, pickups from the waiver wire, all that fun stuff, fantasy wise. And obviously now we have our running throughout the season. We have our predictions on games each week. We'll keep you guys updated with that as well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You guys, anything else? Sign off with?
Let's get the preseason started.
Here we go.
Preseason?
Let's get the season started.
Here we go.